Today, I wanted to give you an update on our status on our building project. And just even some of the reasons why we believe that God has put this before us and called us to this project and some of the current needs. And if you're a visitor today, let me just say, relax. We don't usually talk about this every week. It's not like a thing we do all the time, but we haven't done an update for a while. So, you can just sit back, relax, and this is family time, sort of. It's not intended for you. I want to start by reading a psalm. And the psalm is 127, and it says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it." And from the beginning of this opportunity, we believe the Lord has been in the project and that the Lord desires to build this house in a sense. And I know it's not a house. I know it's different, and I know what the context is, but I'm using it to apply to this. And part of my desire today is that you would see this vision and join us more fully in the vision. And it says, unless the Lord guards the city, that the watchman lays awake in vain. It is vain to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows. And for this reason, and for so he gives his beloved sleep. And then the reason we want to build the house, why do we need, or what's the whole thing with building a new building? Because you look around, there's seats open next to you. By the way, I encourage you to fill them. Bring your friends, invite people to church, get them in here, fill the building. But the thing is, in our children's ministry, if you've ever spent any time back there, it's a little taxing back there. It's a little crowded. And we have, like this week with VBS, we're going to probably have 150 kids for VBS. And so we give them the whole building this week. They take over the sanctuary, they do the whole thing. And in this same text in Psalm 127, it says, "Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior, so are the children of one's youth." That's what the kids that God gives us are. They're like arrows in the hands of a warrior. And let me tell you something, guys. We are in a war in this world. There's no doubt about that. And it says, "Happy is the man who has a quiver full of them, full of arrows, full of children." Now, Walt Miller has 9 children, and he's quivering in the back. But they shall not be ashamed, but shall speak with their enemies in the gates. The point is this. Our heart for children, our heart for the next generation beats strongly. We desire to really prepare for that, prepare for the future of what Cornerstone needs to be, what we believe the Lord wants it to be. So I'd like you to put up the planning resolution right now. And I have some good news. We are finally preliminarily approved. I don't know what that means exactly. No, I do know what it means. And so there's the approval. It's right there. You can get copies of that. We're going to have that up on the webpage too, so you can read the whole thing if you want to, or read it now. It doesn't matter. But it tells us there that we are approved to build a 17,400 square foot footprint, which will be 2 stories. And you've seen the plans. They're out on the foyer. You can look at them. They're up on the wall. We'll have more detail in the future. I want to bring us a little bit back and have us kind of review how we ended up where we are. First of all, with this building. I don't know if you guys realize this, but we found this building in California. And that might sound really strange, but I was at a conference in California when a guy stopped me and said, "Hey, I know that town you're from, Lakewood." It said Lakewood, New Jersey. He said, we did a building loan in that area at some town called Howe or something like that. I said, "You mean Howell?" He goes, "Yeah, it was an old movie theater." I said, "I know the building." I said, "It's still vacant. They're not using it." And he said, "We know." He said, "They haven't been paying their bills." So a previous church owned this building and didn't pay for it. And it was going into foreclosure. It took over a year and a half before things came to fruition. 3 different times we thought we were losing that opportunity. And I kept saying to the Lord, "Lord, why would you offer us a building from California to New Jersey that seemed like it was a perfect fit for us, that seemed like we could step right into?" Because initially they told us they would finance it 100%, they'd do all these things that they could never perform on. And why would you do all that and have me, like I thought someday I'm going to get to heaven and think, what was that about when the building didn't happen? But then a year and a half later, finally, things came about and we were able to purchase this building. But still the battle wasn't done because the previous church had done everything in this building with no permits. So now we had footings that had been put in the foyer with no permits. By the way, we checked them by an engineer. They're good, no worries. We had all kinds of things, all the structures, everything was no permitting. So we started an uphill battle with the township. And they didn't trust us. They wouldn't even let us do demo work in the building till we completed the entire work on the site plan outside. And one of the requirements for the site plan outside were bushes on this front island out front. This is sort of a funny story because the state of New Jersey said we could not put bushes on the front. The town of Howell said we had to put bushes on the front because they were on the site plan. So for 4 months, our engineer fought back and forth between the town, the state, us, back and forth. We could not do one thing for 4 months except clean the parking lot. That's all we were allowed to do. And, you know, the parking lot needed cleaning, but it didn't take 4 months. Till finally my engineer came up with an idea. He said, well, what if we put lower bushes on the front island? I'm like, okay, that works. The town agreed to it. We put bushes on the front island. We got our thing. By the way, have you noticed there's no bushes on the front island? You know where they went? When the township put sewers in, they destroyed the bushes and never put them back. This is the kind of thing you deal with, guys. So the Lord provided this place clearly, and it was God. And we had our battles going through. It was a long process, and we first got in here, we did it in phases, and but the Lord was in it. Now, similarly, we were getting ready to do another renovation on this building, the 4th renovation of this building, when I got a phone call from Walt, who knew the pastor of Community Bible Fellowship, who said, would you be interested in buying this property? And I'm like, why? It's smaller than what we have. And he said, you don't understand. We can build. It's 13 acres of land. And so with that, that's what began the process. And we began a conversation with the pastors and the leaders that was very amicable, extremely spiritual, really, a wonderful thing. They gave us a very good situation, and for them it was a very good situation. So we ended up purchasing the property. Now, we have not yet closed on that property, just so you understand. We have until we have final approval to actually close. We are making payments on that property, but we're not closed on it. So that's how we end up with this new property, and we believe just as the Lord brought us this property, the Lord has brought us that property. It was not even something we were seeking or looking for. God brought it to our doorstep. So the benefits of the new location. What makes that location better for our church than this location? Well, first of all, it will be more ministry to families. We will be able to have a campus there, multi-purpose room, gym for the kids, fields, picnic tables, playgrounds. We can't do that well here because of Route 9 and all the things. We do some of it, but it's difficult. So more space for children's ministry as well as a larger sanctuary, open space for the cafe and other ministries. 2 to 3 times the space, and I'm going to get to this in a moment, for a similar expense that we pay now. That's almost something like they call a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't we do that? And brand new, so more efficient. Our maintenance costs will actually probably maintain the same even with a larger building. And as we grow, we can facilitate more ministry, more missions outreach, having a vision. We still have a vision to church plant. Somebody asked me this question this past week. Would we still want to plant churches? I'd say absolutely. And with a larger base, we can do a better job at planting churches. So let me give you our current situation. We are at a bit of an impasse. We thought several times that this building was sold. It is not. And we have been in some very difficult situations in the past year. And I'm not sure where all that's going to go with those people, but we're praying God will bring the right buyer to this place. We had to come to the conclusion because a couple of different times we were considering selling and moving. We were going to move into Southern School. We were going to move into the building over there and squeeze in and have 3 services. And none of that seemed very appealing, especially when I talked to my ushers, parking lot attendants. When you think about Southern School, if you drive by there, you would not want us to be at Southern School. We spent 2 weeks there a while back and a couple of years ago, and it was difficult. So we had to come to the conclusion that we need to stay in this building while we build a new facility. So we need a unique buyer. We need someone who will buy the building and allow us to lease it back or stay here or some arrangement of that kind. So that's specifically, if you want to pray, that is what you can specifically pray for, is that God will bring, remember something, we only need one buyer. We don't need 20 buyers, we just need one. And so we're praying for that one individual. And we looked into these temporary places, they didn't work out. So we also have looked into a bridge loan, because some people have asked me that. Why don't we do a bridge loan? Well, it doesn't work for us because it would make the debt situation untenable. We could do a bridge loan for a certain amount of what we need over here at the other property, but it would put this church in a position that I have never wanted us to be in. And that is just where we're basically carrying a building, and that's all we can do in ministry. So I wanted to also give you a review of some of the financials so you could know. We have spent approximately $190,000 so far in the process of the land and the building on the other property. So that's already invested money. And there have been donated approximately $150,000 over and above regular giving in the past year and a half. And by the way, if you're one of the people who's donated toward that, and even any of you who give to the church, praise the Lord, thank you very much. We can't do anything. We couldn't do anything we're doing without you guys and without what the Lord puts on your heart to provide for the church. And listen, I already know the money subject is a touchy subject. I get it. But you know that we don't beat you up about those things. And we only talk about them from time to time and rarely, really. And in the building, we've talked a little more about it, and we need to talk about it because the needs need to be known. I want to say to you in regards to those who have given, you cannot outgive God, and God loves a cheerful giver. And the Bible teaches that. The Bible teaches much about giving and providing for the work of the ministry. I'm still learning about these things. I have to confess that I did not realize as I began to look into how many times tithing and giving is mentioned in the Bible, it is overwhelming the number of times that God talks about it. And maybe we don't talk about it enough. So I'm concerned, though, that we haven't made clear to you some of the needs, so we're giving you that today. Today really is giving you as much information as we can without hard sell solicitation. Please don't take it that way. I'm not up here saying, man, if you don't give, we're going out of business, I mean, that's what the radio ministers would do, or, those years ago, crying to people, if you don't help us, we're going off the air. I used to say, go off the air, So maybe we'd be better off, Give a space to somebody who matters, sort of. I wanted to give you, though, the picture of what the building's going to cost also. Professional services and permitting are going to be about $250,000. Site improvements, get ready, $1 million. And then the new facility, approximately $2.5 million, for a total of $3.8 million. That's a lot of money, guys. And things just are extremely expensive today. It's just the way it is. It's the days in which you had a barn raising for the church, they're over. Maybe we call the Amish and get them over here. I don't know. But those days don't seem to be here anymore. So I wanted to also just quickly give you a little bit of an outline of what our position is now and will be after the sale of this building. Our current debt is approximately $1.2 million. You might say, wow, that's a lot. Well, it's really not, because we've taken loans to do a lot of the work in this property over the years. And we have paid down quite a bit of our debt. We would need to borrow way too much to build and maintain, so we need to stay and sell the building and do it the way I mentioned. I don't want to put us as a church, and our board does not want us to put us in a desperate situation to sell either. So assuming we net, the building you may know is on the market for $3.9 million. Assuming we net $3.5 million, we will be able to manage approximately the $1.5 million debt that we have had. That's what our current loan is based off of. So we can manage that loan. It will not be exorbitant. We can handle that. And so that's the scenario. But wouldn't it even be better if we went in there debt-free and had more money for ministry? Because if we were debt-free or even close to debt-free, anything we have, we would use it for ministry, for outreach, for church planting, for reaching out and saving more people. Our vision, our desire is that people come to Christ, people get discipled to grow in their own faith and use their gifts, and that people go out and evangelize more people. That's really the Great Commission. That's what we're here for, you guys. So this is where you can help. I'm asking every person who's a part of this body, if this is your church, I'm just asking you to just really pray and consider what part you're to have in this, both commitment-wise and then also financially. You know, where's the Lord putting this? Because I'm not sure we've been as clear as we could be, and so we want to give full disclosure of information without the hard solicitation. So in summary, we did the math, and once we're in the new building, the proceeds from the sale of this building will put us in a similar monthly debt situation and with a greater benefit to the church body and allow us to save in many other areas also. So if you've been considering giving and wondering when, the time is now. And because it'll help determine our next steps. We are at a bit of an impasse. We can't move very far forward unless we kind of know where our financial picture is going to be. So it is somewhat of a temporary situation in that once we sell the building, the financial situation will clear up and will be much easier. But we don't know when that's going to happen. We've had the building on the market for over a year. And our neighbors to the south are rather shrewd. So let's just say. So please consider partnering with us and investing in the work of the kingdom through Cornerstone. I know that there are many places that you can give what the Lord puts on your heart to give. There's many opportunities out there. There's lots of ministries that are worthy and blessing and, great things. But the question to you and to me today is Cornerstone worthy? Is it a place where God is calling you to say, I want to invest in the future of where this is going? So it's an investment for the benefit of all of us. It'll provide greater capability to support the calling of our church, our vision to see the lost saved, saints, disciples, each person fulfill the calling on their lives. And you can do it in various ways. I just want to give you the very practical. You can do it by marking a check and putting it in the box or putting it in the offering. You can do it online. You can let us know what you're going to do and then do it a little bit later. And by the way, there have been those maybe who've been a little fearful about asking questions about this. I've heard that. I've heard a number of things that have been a little bit like they think we raised the price of the coffee shop because we're trying to raise money for the building. We raised the coffee price. Did you know we raised the coffee price? Anybody notice that? Some people did. I can tell you some people noticed, but that's okay. It didn't have anything to do with that. I didn't even know they raised the price. They don't tell me nothing around here. And by the way, the proceeds of the coffee shop go to missions anyway. They still go to missions, even though the sign got moved or something. So the point is this. We're not doing things differently. We're not like cutting back. Someone said to me yesterday, so you don't want to print the bulletin because of the building project, right? No, I don't mind printing the bulletin. I just want to know whether it's a waste. Like, do you guys read it? And half you guys raise your hand, so we're still printing the bulletin. Don't freak out. Somebody came and showed me a bulletin, like, had to be 12 years old. They said, see, I save them all, I'm like, praise the Lord, man. You got a collector's item there, brother. So, questions are encouraged, though. I want to tell you that. And we're going to provide a couple of different ways for you to ask questions. Some people, I know how some people are. You won't come to me and ask questions. I've been told I'm intimidating. I don't believe it, but I've been told that. So you might be nervous about that. You won't ask it in a group setting. So you can write down a question. You don't even have to put your name. And you can put it in the agape box, or you can drop it in the offering, or you can hand it to one of the ushers, or you can hand it to me if you want. Of course, then I'm going to know it was you. But you can put a note in the box, in the info counter, anywhere there, and we will answer those questions in between services today, any other time you want to ask, but also at our built meetings. From now on, we're going to have a short time to answer Q&A about the building. We need you guys, when we need to know you guys are partnering with us. We need that. We need to know that. Because we believe God's leading us. We believe God has opened these doors. But we can't go without you. You know, me, Mike, the staff, we'd be mighty lonely over there. So, please let us know your thoughts. We want your input.